Welcome to Rebellious Papers. Today we're going to talk about adding smooth brown fades to bone. What's up, miniatures paintbrush legions? Today on Playing with Paint, a series that I developed while I play around with paint and come up with new tips and techniques that I can share with you guys. Today we're going to talk about faded bone, and I found a really easy way to airbrush your way to perfect smooth blends. Let's go down to Table Town. Alrighty, so we're looking for that brown faded effect, and what I'm using is Seraphon Sepia shade from Games Workshops to achieve this. Now, I was playing around with shades through an airbrush just to see what kind of effect I got, and I was watching different channels back about 2-3 years ago, and they were saying it was ridiculous to use shades through an airbrush. When I was like, au contraire, monsieur. That's French. No, I defied what the norm was, and I started using airbrush to achieve this kind of effect, this like fading effect. And the reason why it was so effective is because, I mean, this is sped up just a bit, is because I lay a layer of the shade down, and then I blow on it with the air from the airbrush without any paint or anything like that, in order to dry the area out. And when I see that the area is dry, I hit it with just another smattering of paint, just very slowly bringing up that transition. As you can see it's all about doing it in layers, and you can use shades to get any kind of effect. I'm using Seraphon Sepia here, but you can use all the GW fades in order to get these really cool transitions, these really deep and rich blends, as you see right here, just bringing up on the top tips of those horns. I love the effect it has on bones. I've used yellow to simulate candlelight from bones by doing this similar effect. So whenever you have like a caged bone area and it was lit by a candle, and I wanted to use that to have some OSL lighting on the fact, so I slowly brought up some diffused kind of light, that it was actually glowing light from the candle, okay, I'll get there, from the candle to get that smooth blending yellow light. So yeah, Caraburn Crimson also works. You could just, the options for you doing these kinds of fades are almost kind of endless, and use your imagination, just as long as you get the technique of putting a small translucent layer down and actually having it dry. An alternative to using your airbrush to use air through the airbrush in order to dry the many of the areas in which you paint. Another technique that you can use is a small blow dryer. That's like a heated blow dryer, right? So this way, if you're blowing it through the airbrush like that, you can see me pull the airbrush off camera a couple of times, and that is simply because I'm getting a lot of dry tip. I mean, obviously, if you have a wet tip and you're just throwing air through it, the air in itself is going to actually dry that tip. So eventually, I knew I was going to deal with that dry tip. So if you don't want to deal with dry tip at all, and a solution to get rid of that dry tip, for me, is it's like you just wipe down the tip. You do some black backflow going on in there just to make sure the chamber is all, juicy and ready to go. And just like pinching the front, especially with this Badger airbrush, you got to pinch it because it has that kind of front with like almost like a fork to it. You have Ayahuatas who have a cylindrical thing. Just putting your finger in there and just making sure you're clearing it up inside for those Iowata versions and clearing out that dry tip. So if you don't want to mess around with dry tips at all, then it would behoove you to get a little airbrush, like a portable travel size airbrush. I actually picked mine up from Christmas tree shops. Go them. And and I used it to dry sometimes when I do these fades. But you can see right here the effect that I'm getting, those ultra smooth blends with the airbrush using Citadel shades. Now you can use all different kinds of shades. I mean, Army Painter puts up some great tones in which you can use. I've airbrushed inks in this manner. They're very pigment rich. You can get these great fades, but the whole thing is diluting it to the point where you're building it up in small layers. If you want smooth transitions, the best way I found is building things up in smooth, small, translucent layers, slowly but surely. It's the most forgiving way to airbrush. And hopefully, if you try this, go into the Miniatures Paintbrush Legion and share what you've done when you played with paint. But as you can see here, man, it really came out awesome. All right, so I'll catch you on the outro. Now here it is. You couldn't get easier to get this kind of smooth blending effect. Try it out yourself. And if you do, go into the Miniatures Paintbrush Legion and show us what you got. Well, if you like this video, like, share, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time on the Miniatures Paintbrush. Hey, it's your boy Rob here, and I want to let you know that I started up one of them Amazon affiliate links. Now I'm going to feature some products down in the description right there, products that I actually personally endorse. But at the same time, if you buy that product or you buy any product within the next 24 hours of you clicking onto that link, the channel gets a kickback, a percentage, right? And that's the easiest and cheapest way that you can support the channel if you're so inclined, and with absolutely zero cost to you. Well, if you don't click onto that link, I'm just happy you came by and hung out with me. All right, well, I'll catch you next time.